That is an air compressor. It compresses air. This one is very oily. These guys are the primary and secondary air tanks or air reservoirs. They hold the air that is compressed by the air compressor. One of them is the primary, one of them is the secondary. The primary is also called the wet tank because of how wet it is. If your tanks don't have the decency to be labeled like these ones, you can tell which one's the primary and which one's the secondary by the color of the hoses. This one's got green hoses, that one's got orange hoses. That tells you which one is which. After your air compressor compresses your air, it's got to go to this John right here. This is the air dryer, or the air desiccant. Even though you have a wet tank that's supposed to be all wet and everything, you don't want it to be that wet. So you run the air through this guy so it dries it out a little bit. That is the brake pedal. I think you know how that works. That's pretty self-explanatory. And that beeping noise is the low air warning, because we are below 60 psi. That right there is your brake relay valve. That's what actually allows your brakes to engage. That's what actually feeds air to your brake chambers. When you press on the brake pedal, it doesn't give air directly to the brake chambers. It gives air to this thing, and then this thing gives the air to your brakes themselves. This right here is your brake chamber. So when you press on your brakes, your air comes here. You have two lines going to it. One is your service line and the other one is your emergency line. When there's no air in here at all, there's a massive friggin' spring in there that's constantly pushing on that push rod, which is pushing on that slack adjuster, which is turning the S-cam that's up in there that you can't see, and that's what engages your parking brake. But then once you take off your parking brake, you get air, and that overcomes the big old spring, and then you have no brakes, and then your wheel can turn freely. And then if you want to stop again, you can press on your brake pedal and you can get air through the service line into your brake chamber, which will again push on that push rod, which will push on that slack adjuster, which will rotate the S-cam that's back in there, and that will push those there shoes against that there drum and stop your wheel from turning. Parking brake valve for tractor, parking brake valve for trailer. All these do is allow air to go into the brake system. So no more air in the tractor's brake system. I can now move if I want to, and I don't have the trailer hooked up, so if I push that, it will just dump air until the trailer protection valve kicks in. So we're not going to do that. Just kidding, we're going to do it. It sounds fun. Yep. That's the safety. This is that thing the book tells you never to use ever under any circumstances. Side note, while your air compressor mainly exists for the benefit of your brakes, you can also use it for nonsense like this. Isn't that fun?